to Galloping Horse number, shoot, I did not look up the number. Is it 8?
8.
Maybe 8. Maybe a different number. But you will know that because there will have been a screen before this that has the number on it.
If you cared to notice.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. This is March 27th, 2024. And I think this might be one of the shortest intervals since between videoing. So that's good.
Okay.
That means we remember why we do this. Anyway, I'm Emily Williams.
I'm Cindy Clark.
And we like to quilt. And we want to quilt your quilts too, but we're really here to talk about ourselves this time.
Our work.
Our work.
Our work, which we have some to show.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
But first, we have been to a few things.
Yes, it's been an exciting month.
So in mid-February, we went to QuiltCon.
In Raleigh.
Yes, and we did not dress up,
What?
though we discussed it.
And how would we have dressed up?
Oh, as middle-aged women.
So we kind of did.
Yeah, it was character. We were character actresses.
That's right, for quilting.
Yeah.
Ladies who quilt.
Though I will say, the clientele at that show was very different from the other shows.
Yeah, it was a lot younger.
Yeah, and the quilts were a lot
Younger and cuter. There were...
moderner.
Moderner. It was the Modern Quilt Guild, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Modern Quilt Guild that put it on. And there were this is the first time I've ever noticed this. Lots of young women with sort of coveralls on.
Yeah.
And if it was a group of them, they might be in 3 complementary colors or something. And so maybe they all made them, but they were very cute. And just, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, I didn't
We need
either.
to make us some coveralls.
Okay. I don't make clothing,
I'll
but I
make
don't know if
yours.
coveralls really counts as clothing.
Yeah, they might have been overalls. I'm not really sure
Yeah.
what the difference is.
But anyway, the quilts were amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I took some pictures. I'll stick a few in here while we're talking about it. But I noticed there were a lot of statement quilts. I felt like they had a message.
Yeah.
As opposed to just being something beautiful to look at.
Yeah. And there were a lot that were beautiful to look at.
And there were a lot that were interesting to look at. A lot of color play.
Yeah. A lot of very creative ideas. Yeah.
And also a lot of quilt. So the sections that we looked at were mostly wall hangings. Maybe the whole show was mostly that.
Yeah.
And I would say most of them could have been quilted on somebody's domestic machine using a walking foot.
Yeah. There were a lot of close parallel line quilting.
Yeah. And a few of them...
We could do that.
Exactly where I was going to go. A few of them, we said, I could totally do that. I don't mean about the quilting, but about the whole quilt. Because there wasn't anything remarkable about it except the fantastic selection of color and...
yeah, and the idea. We would have to think it up first.
And it's artistic more.
Yeah.
Which Cindy's working on something which we'll show you more of later. That's more along those lines. But yeah, that was an amazing show.
Yeah.
And we didn't give it enough time. We didn't really
We
realize how amazing it was going to be.
Right. And we didn't know about it until about 3 or 4 weeks before it happened. And we already had plans to go to the Mid-Atlantic Quilt Festival like a week later.
Mm-hmm.
And so we already had spent money on that adventure in advance. But in 2025...
The Modern Quilt Guild is coming back to do QuiltCon in Raleigh again. So.
Yeah. So we'll make plans to spend more time there.
Yeah.
At the very least. Maybe take a class, but definitely just take a day off work.
Yeah, 2 days of wandering around. Because also I felt that perhaps there were more quilts on display than in Virginia.
Yeah. And there were different vendors, a lot of different vendors than we usually see in Virginia.
Very much so, yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Because pretty much the one in Virginia is the one I've been to. But
right.
Me
too.
Yeah. So it was fun. Very good.
So we each bought something there.
Yes.
At least one thing. This is all I brought to show. We bought kits. So this is a pattern that I bought. And this is actually from Carrie Quilt Company, which is our local company.
And I bought this pattern also from them, which is very pretty, but it's a kit. I bought the kit, and so I'm excited to make that.
And that very weekend, oh, I did buy that other thing, which I didn't bring. That very week, so it was a Saturday. On the Sunday, I started cutting out this kit.
Oh.
And I have the piecing part cut out. So this is pieced. These blocks are pieced. And then these blocks are either needle turn or machine applique. And I'm going to do machine applique, especially because of what we're about to talk about next.
Yeah.
But it's all cut out, ready to go.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it because I have other things I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I will.
Yeah.
It's right there, ready to go.
Okay.
Then the next weekend, we did our traditional quilt show.
Mostly annual.
Yeah.
And
which is the Mid-Atlantic Quilt Festival in Hampton, Virginia.
I mean, it is annual. We are mostly annual visiting it.
Yes. It was the 30th? 35th?
35th.
Yeah. We haven't been there 35 times.
No.
Or even 30 times.
No, but maybe between
20.
15 and 20.
Yeah. We have the pins.
We have the pins.
Which every now and then we get them out and we compare. So
Yeah.
we were here together these years, and I was here separately.
But it used to be that when we got there, we had the ritual of the pins, which is Emily had all of hers in a little box, and we dump them out on the comforter on the bed, and say, okay, when have we been here? Which ones did we miss? And then last year, Emily made a little quilt to display her pins on, so we didn't have the ritual of the pins.
No ritual. Another ritual was missing this year.
What?
We went to the early bird visit to the floor on the Wednesday night before the show officially opens on Thursday, and there was no countdown.
Yeah, the guy always revs up the crowd and does a countdown, and he forgot to do the countdown.
It was just
a little disappointing.
Yeah, it was like New Year's with the ball falling and nobody noticing.
We were happy to rush in to the place.
Yeah, if he had paused us and said, "Wait, we forgot to do the countdown," we wouldn't have stayed.
No.
But we did take 3 classes.
Yes.
2 full day classes. That is 2 full days of classes.
And one of them was 2 half days with the same teacher.
It was really interesting.
Yeah, it was long arm quilting.
What was her name? Her last name was Quiltoff.
Yeah, but that wasn't her real name. But Julia
Quiltoff.
Lorena. And she was lovely and young and a really good quilter.
Russian, I think.
Yeah. And
she and her husband came to the U.S. maybe 10 years ago, and
or maybe
longer.
more,
and she was going to set up her identity as a quilt teacher.
Yeah.
And so she was going to be, beautiful white flower quilter or something. And he said, "You need to really bank on your Russian heritage. You need to be something, with a Russian name." So she chose Quiltoff, which is perfect.
It's pretty funny, but she said, now everybody thinks that's my name, but it really isn't.
Yeah. But anyway, she was nice. And I felt like I learned specific things from her as well as techniques or ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's show what we did.
Okay.
We did this, which... Let me find the part that's not covered.
I'll hide that part.
Okay, here we go. So this was the class in doodle quilting.
Yeah.
So yeah, yours is in the right light to show.
Oh.
And she was teaching us the idea of texture and scale, I would say.
Yeah.
And freedom.
Yeah.
And so the idea is you have some large areas that you frame with smaller things, and then you bridge between them with medium things.
Yeah.
And mine is this, and this part I just ran out of steam probably. I can't tell what anybody can see, but it was really fun.
Yeah.
And it made me think, oh, let's just load up some random fabric and...
Yeah.
But this is a solid, which of course I love.
Yeah. And I really enjoy this kind of quilting, and in fact, when we first got Lucy, I mean, this was probably before you came back.
Yeah, because we got Lucy, and then few days later,
Yeah.
the world shut down and I went away because we weren't allowed to.
Because we were following the cruise. But this was just
Yeah.
a little thing I was doing to learn. And
It's so pretty.
it really appeals to me, this kind of quilting. But you have to, like, have the brain space to
It takes a lot of concentration.
do it. Let's see if I put a date on it.
April 2020.
2020 April. Yep, you came back sometime after that.
I think it was May, the very beginning of May, because we had stay-at-home orders statewide, or
Yeah.
I think so, statewide, that we did. And then the other class we took, the other half day was in Mandela.
Mandela quilting.
Was that?
It was like a whole cloth.
A whole cloth.
Whole cloth.
Mandela being one option.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
had 2 pieces of fabric, so we did this.
And she had a
kind
of a stencil that you could draw.
Yeah, which is really great. Well, I don't want you to see this too close because it's terrible. Here, you can
really
see
good.
this part. That's good.
Yeah, that was good.
But the idea,
hers was stunning.
oh yeah, hers
Yeah.
was museum quality. These are
But you should be good at
learning.
You should be good at some tiny quilting, which I am not necessarily. But it was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun, and we liked her a lot.
Yeah, so that was the second half day with Ms. Quiltoff, Julia.
Yes.
Julia.
Yes.
And then the next day, we had a full day of machine applique with a person. Sue, great person.
Garmin.
I don't know. So we started machine applique with these tiny little blanket stitches, which
This was the practice.
Cindy's is quite good and mine is pretty good.
Yours is very good.
And, well, no.
They're both quite good.
But the idea, and it was a class that was using the Bernina,
Yeah, in the classroom. We were
That
in the
is
Bernina
classroom. which was also excellent because, of course, that's the kind of machines we have. But we learned about her way of doing this. So it's multiple layers of fabric, but she cuts out the under adhesive stuff.
Yeah.
So that it's only around the edge, so you don't have so much buildup of bulk.
Thick layers. She said, I wanted my quilts to feel like quilts.
And so she wanted them to be soft. And then she has certain methods that she uses to make the blanket stitch perfect, which we'll get to that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get on to that. You are closer on that. But and then these are she actually gave us fabric to do 2 blocks from a quilt. And did I bring the book? No. But we bought the book that has the patterns for the whole quilt.
I forgot about that.
But, and so I have done 2/3 of mine and Cindy finished hers.
Yeah, but
But it was fun. I felt like I learned a lot.
Yeah, and we learned a lot about Bernina stuff too.
That was really
That was very
important.
valuable. Yeah.
Here's one of the best things.
What?
So when we first got our machines, when I first got my machine, they said, now whenever you are changing thread, never, ever, 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 ever pull the thread backwards from the back of the machine to unthread it. So of course I didn't, because I didn't want to ruin my brand new high cost Bernina machine. So there was a technician there who was helping with the class, who was making sure that everybody's machines were operating correctly and teaching people things about them because they wanted to sell them. And I said, so I'm just curious. I was told you should never pull your thread backwards. He said, well, what kind of machines do you have at home? So I gave him my numbers. And he said, well, those are fine. You don't have to worry about it. There's one particular model that you shouldn't pull it backwards. And so I feel like I have had a new...
I know.
It's amazing. I can't... Every time I change thread, I appreciate that.
I know. Yay.
So...
Okay, so that was fun.
Yeah.
What else did we do there?
That's all.
Okay.
Did we do any shopping?
We did a little shopping.
Not much, though. I mean, we did. We went to a lot of booths.
Yeah.
We didn't really buy as much as usual.
Yeah.
But you are working on this project.
Oh, yeah, I started this. So this is, we kept walking past the the cherry wood booth, and they were having a challenge, and I've never heard of this challenge before, but this year it's the poppy challenge, and last year it was monarch butterfly. So you can purchase, they don't give you. I bought a set of fat quarters.
Yeah.
And you make a 20-inch quilt using only those fabrics, and and they had, and I noticed they had a book that was a book of the quilts of the previous year, but then they had a huge display of all these 20-inch quilts, and they were just stunning, and it was very motivating. The colors are beautiful for the monarchs, and colors are beautiful for this.
It's all hand dyed. I don't know if it's hand dyed, but it's
but it's
custom
nice
dyed
fabric, and it's kind of suede-y. I mean, it's cotton, but it seems
it looks suede-y and it's very nice. So these are the poppy colors, and you can that 20-inch quilt. You can't use any other fabrics, right?
No, except for the backing.
Right.
And you could buy
more of it,
yard pieces, but I just bought quarter yards because they were. It's pricey fabric, but
And so, what are you doing? Show us your plan.
Well, you mean this?
Yeah, like your drawing and your pieces you've made in the book.
Oh, that. So my idea is, this is not a very good thing, but anyway, we took a class last year with Cindy Gristella about modern quilting, and so I thought I might use that idea. So, like, and I finished mine from last year, and I just love it. I'm so pleased with it.
Well, there's an example right there.
So this is an example of it. So I thought I might make, a little pot of poppies with these ideas, and so I've started. But I got some cheater fabric to practice with because I don't want to use my good stuff. So
isn't that great? That is a great poppy. I love that.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Here's the vase.
There's the vase, and I've got some smaller ones, and so I don't know exactly how they're going to come together yet, but it's pretty fun to do, and there's a deadline of May 15th, so I need to get busy. But anyway, Emily's usually the person who is motivated by contests, and I am not.
Deadlines.
Deadlines.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway.
But you're definitely motivated.
Yeah.
Because you've had new things to show me every time I've seen you.
Yeah.
Since then.
So maybe this weekend I'll do more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else are we working on? So baby quilts is a theme for you.
Yes. I have a baby quilt to work on. And this is just the first 4 blocks. We'll see how that turns out. Won't talk anymore about that.
Why not? Isn't it cute, the elephants?
It is cute. It is cute. I just want to see how it comes together more. I'll talk more later.
Okay. That is next video.
Yes.
And you made a baby quilt that's already been sent off.
Yes, we can drop in a picture of that. It's pretty cute.
Put a picture in.
Yep.
I might see this when I'm editing and say, oh yeah, I was going to put a picture in.
Yeah.
I don't have a picture. You'll have to send me one.
Oh yeah, I will. I have a picture.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking, why would you have a picture?
Well, I don't.
You need it.
Yet, but I will need it.
Okay. All right. So this.
So last year, 2 or 5 years ago, when we went to the Hampton Quilt Show, we saw an entire quilt that was basically this idea, except it might have been this idea.
I think it was on point, was it?
Maybe it was this.
That's how I remember it. I don't know if that's true or not.
But the idea of it, as I looked at it, was background fabric with bits of color sewn to the corners and not perfect nothing exactly diagonal or orthogonal or anything, just sewn on there. What a great way to use scraps. So I decided I'm going to do that. And as Cindy said, oh, well, you've already started this quilt. You've started making another quilt. So this is a 3-inch Kona white, and then it's a piece of fabric snowballed onto the corner and then trimmed. That's all it is.
And so now we'll never be allowed to throw away any piece of fabric again.
This is one of my problems.
Yeah.
But my hope is I will discover in doing this that I can get it out of my system.
Yeah, that will be good.
Either that or I will make 10,000 3-inch squares with colors on it and make many, many quilts.
Yeah.
But, I mean, look at this. This is in 2 sitting down to sew things together sessions. I did 16 of them, and it took moments.
Yeah.
And I have thousands of scraps that could possibly. Now, one thing I'll say is that I have realized that you have to, like these ones right here, this one is probably too small. Because once you have a seam allowance, there's going to be almost nothing showing. So maybe that will help me discern what is the smallest size scrap that's worth keeping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do have a problem with scraps.
Yes. Okay. What else?
What else? Oh, I showed this last time. I was thinking of how to do it, and I did it. This is my son's baby quilt. He'll be 30 at his next birthday.
And you did finish this before now. Once.
It was finished before he was born, actually. It was the first time I finished it. But then I showed it to you because it had all come apart, and my daughter-in-law thought I could fix it. And so I did. I took it apart. I put batting in it. I quilted it. So I left the ties. Originally I tied it because I didn't have anything else to do. And I left the ties, but I quilted just around the inside of each square. And I sort of eyeballed it, but it's fine. I mean, it didn't really measure. And I left the backing fabric. The backing fabric has holes in it. I did not mend the holes because...
All right, better than it was.
It's better than it was. And then I put actual binding on it, which before it was just one of those, you sew it inside out and turn it over, turn it around.
Yeah.
And so this is going to go back to him. We're visiting them soon, next week.
Oh.
So I'll take it to him. That's something I can check off.
Yeah.
Project is done.
Okay.
Oh, and I had to make the backing fabric bigger, which you can see how much. I mean, I think that this fabric was originally off-white, but not that off-white.
Yeah.
You can see what 30 years of sitting on a boy's bed does to a quilt.
Okay.
What else? Oh, well, we have progress. Oh, we have things over here. Oh, yes. Look at these things.
All right. Here's something that I started. This is a disappearing pinwheel. So you make big pinwheels and then you cut them apart. And this is a Missouri Star pattern.
Such a beautiful set of fabrics.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I this is like the center of the quilt. Then the other parts of the pinwheel are elsewhere.
Are in a box.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Yes. Need to be trimmed down. This is, I've showed you.
Oh, I didn't realize how much of this you had done.
Yeah. So I showed an alphabet quilt that I've been working on for a long time. And this is one of the borders.
This is spectacular.
And I just love these borders. And they're all going to be, I mean, they're ironed on right now, but I'm going to do a blanket stitch on them. So we have new blanket stitch practice. And
I love these trees.
yeah, me too. So that's just one.
This is going to be a spectacular quilt.
Yeah.
So how are these on there?
They're
just a little glue dust?
stick. Yeah. But I'm going to stitch down the edges. I don't know if I'll blanket stitch them. I might just do like we did.
Yes, on this one we straight stitched the edges.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I love the fabrics that I used, which were mostly, out of the stash.
It's great.
Yeah.
So that's something.
Okay.
That quilt could be a fair entry.
Yes. And
In the mixed one.
Yeah.
And this is also, we're getting close. We have only one more seam.
That's right.
On this. You know, we're going to show this every single time. This is our Hallmark quilt.
Yeah.
And we're going to cause you to look at this wonderful block. The one that Cindy did, the heart with polyps.
We call it polyps. The polyps.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so we just have this, we have the other
Yeah.
piece. You know, it's almost all sewn together.
Yeah. And
We
then,
just have that other corner to do.
yeah. So this is going to be really nice. We might get that seam sewn and then put the borders on.
And then
So
maybe
it's only
quilt it.
been, we started that in January
Of
of 2020.
So we'll finish it before the state fair, the North Carolina
Yeah.
State Fair.
Yeah.
So I spent, it is amazing how much time it takes to sew a seam in a quilt that has that many blocks.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that have to be at least attempted to be matched.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I spent 40 minutes sewing one seam today before you got home from work. Maybe 45. And
Well, one more to go.
one more, and then the borders will be quick.
Yeah.
And then we can quilt it. We just have to make our full decisions on the quilting.
Yeah. Which we haven't even started that yet.
Well, we haven't started quilting it, but we have
Deciding.
discussed
We've
it some.
discussed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you have? Oh, I have this other thing I was going to show. Because I'm still working on it, but by the time we record again, I maybe will have the top done. So this is the Sudoku quilt I'm making for my son, which at the least I'm making it for his 30th birthday. And I think I showed you some of these blocks before. So there's one of them. And here's one. And here's one. This is one I think you haven't seen. And these are...
They all look great. I mean, the solid and white look really pretty together. That's a pretty one.
Yeah, this is called Winter Windows or something. This, of course, is our friend, the shoe fly. This is called Lightning. And then I have, in this thing, I have two more. I have a dark green and I have a pink. I haven't decided if I'm going to stick with the pink.
Pink's a lot like
That's
this.
my worry, is that these two are too similar.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll have quite different designs to them, but...
Yeah. You have another green. So
Right, I
that's
could
good.
use I have a lime green that
Yeah.
maybe I could use.
Yeah, you could do a hot pink, but it's not if it's too close to the red.
Right.
Anyway, there are many colors.
But this is the book most of the blocks are going to come out of this book. And this is a great book. So there are 100 different blocks in here, which if you were dedicated, you could do 2 blocks a week and make 100 blocks in a year.
Oh, of this.
Yeah, make 2 different
quilt.
blocks.
Oh, I see.
But I am not interested in doing that. Some of the blocks I have no interest in ever making. But they're cute, you know, it's an interesting idea. So the idea is that you end up with this quilt that has 100 blocks in it. And I think actually there are 104 blocks in the, or even, 104 blocks in the book.
Oh, that one's nice.
Yeah, that is nice. But, and you could make it out of your stash, which, that's how I'm making this. Except for the white background, which I've bought. Because I'm not using just random whites. I'm using all Kona white.
That's going to be beautiful. How big will it be?
Well, so that's the thing. It's a Sudoku puzzle. And each of these blocks will finish at 6 inches. And so 6 times 9 is 54 inches, right? I think.
You're the expert.
Possibly 54 inches. And it will have some sort of,
60.
yeah, it will have some sort of sashing, at least between the 9 every 3 blocks, sideways and up and down.
Mhm.
So at least it will have that kind of sashing. So it'll be something like 60 inches and then borders.
Mhm.
And it will be square.
Mhm.
And it will have borders at least 6 inches because I'm going to put some numbers in the borders that will be clues to solving the Sudoku, which I say solving in quotes because the digits, if you will already be in there because I'm laying it out.
Mhm.
I'm not giving him a felt board with
Right.
these
You're not having
blocks.
blank squares.
Right. But what he will be able to do is to use the clues around the outside of the grid to figure out which digit is represented by which block throughout the quilt. So I figured that I've all mapped out. I know what I'm doing there. I just have to now do it.
Okay.
So, but
Well,
his
it's gonna
birthday
be
is
beautiful.
August. So August at the latest
Yeah.
for that.
Very nice.
I think it'll be interesting. And my husband said, you should put this in your Etsy shop because I'm sure a lot of people would want this. And I'm thinking, a lot of people want a Sudoku quilt? Don't think so.
All the math nerd families.
Who want quilts?
You know what you need to do? I think this would be good. So between this red, which this is stunning, and this, you should find a pink that, like a rose, that's in between the value
Instead of
these
this
two.
one.
I think that one's too close to the value of this one. I think it should be a little bit more.
A little darker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may have one in my stash.
It's a value decision.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And it's a pink decision.
Yeah.
Because there are so many colors in the world. Why do I need pink and peach?
Right.
So, but we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's something I'm definitely working on. I've been working on that every day for the past couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're going to keep working on the elephants?
Yes, and the puppies.
Oh, yes, poppies.
Those are my things with deadlines.
Yeah.
And, there's always lots of other things to work on. The borders, my beautiful borders.
So did we recently acquire any quantities of fabric?
But we weren't going to tell about that.
Well, I'm going to tell
All right.
what I did. We weren't going to tell? So
It's a little embarrassing.
we have a real shortage of fabric
Yeah.
in our stashes.
Yeah.
Breed.
No shortage.
No shortage. But we visited the sewing room of the late wife of a man who was a friend of a friend of a friend, basically,
Yeah.
several layers removed
Yeah.
from us.
Yeah.
So his wife died a couple of years ago, and he has been planning how to divest himself of her sewing supplies because he has no interest in it.
Mm-hmm.
And our stash together, the total of what we owned before we went
Yeah.
to this was probably a 20th of what she has.
Yeah, or like
Or
one
maybe-
shelf.
yeah.
I mean, maybe two.
Yeah.
She had a lot of shelves and tables and bins on the floor. Just a lot of fabric. She was a lover of fabric.
She had the hobby of collecting fabric
Yeah.
as well as making quilts.
Yeah.
And he was selling the fabric at a unbelievable price, which I don't even want to say because Cindy said, well, we bought a lot of fabric. I said, Cindy, we didn't buy fabric. We stole the fabric. It was
stole
just
the price.
so
What'd she
inexpensive.
say?
I mean, he set the price and he
Yeah.
did the weighing.
Yeah.
I never even saw the,
Yes. Yes.
so it's up to him what he chose to do.
Yeah.
But he'd done a lot of research on tax deductions if you donated, which is almost nothing. And
Yeah.
so he said he was better off selling it
Yeah.
super cheap.
Yeah.
But he said, I estimate in this room, which we were looking at the room,
It was a big room.
that there's $50,000 worth of fabric. And we were thinking, yeah, could be.
And it was a lot of fabric. And big pieces.
Yeah.
Big, several yard pieces.
I think that her philosophy was if she saw fabric she liked, she bought at least 3 yards of it.
Yeah. And if she liked it a little bit more than that, she bought 6 yards.
That's right. And he went up into the loft. So this was sort of a bonus room in their house. And it had a loft. And he said, are you interested in any batting? I think it's called batting, he said.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we said, well, sure, depending on what it is. So he tossed
He starts
down
throwing down packages.
multiple packages of queen size
Yeah.
or twin size or queen size, most of it batting, in cotton or cotton 80-20 or bamboo. And we turned down 100% polyester,
Yeah.
of which there was also a huge quantity in the loft.
Yeah.
I mean, he just tossed it down. He said, I would just let you just take this. In fact, I would ask you to please take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at some point, Cindy picked up a pattern, a sewing pattern. The woman had 500 patterns in the corner. And she said, I would like this pattern. And he said, you can't have that pattern unless you take 20 more. But she only took one pattern.
Yeah.
I took a big ring of zippers.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, just take the zippers. And I said, oh, okay. Probably 30 zippers.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to have zipper week sometime soon, where I'm going to make pouches and things that have zippers in them, because I now have even more zippers. I was already going to have zipper week with just the zippers I already had.
I know. You'd have to have zipper month.
Yeah.
But I had to come home and clean out a closet so I could figure out where to put this fabric.
So I picked up a lot of reds.
Yes.
Both batik reds, a little bit of batik red, and in regular, conventionally printed reds. And so I did the reds first, washing it. And I think I had 30 yards of red.
Wow.
That's just red. I think altogether I had maybe 90 yards of fabric.
Yeah. Well, my big windfall was a big stack of Laurel Birch, who's a designer that I really like. It got a lot of bright colors and gorgeous, artwork and
very distinctive.
Yeah. If you know who Laurel Birch is, you always can spot her stuff. I first learned about Laurel Birch when we lived in Hawaii, and there were earrings. They were at Liberty House. I mean, this was they're about Laurel Birch for a long time, and I like her. So, turns out a lot of this stuff is Christmas, and so I'll probably make a Christmas quilt or two. But it's so colorful and beautiful that you could use the Christmas stuff and not call it a Christmas, or put it with other stuff, and it wouldn't. I mean, it's not all red and green and hollies and it doesn't scream Christmas. Yeah. And I had one piece of Laurel Birch, which I'm going to give you most of it after zipper week. Well, you should look at my other Laurel Birch and see what you can put with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the woman liked Cocopelli because there were several pieces of Cocopelli.
Yeah.
And right now, so Cindy cleared out a closet in order to make room for it. I put it all in Anne's closet. Temporarily, I promise.
Hi,
Anne. But Anne's closet is a great place to temporarily put things that I don't want to carry all the way up to the sewing room. But
there's a deadline on how long you can leave it in there.
So when did you say you were coming? August? Okay,
that's right.
That's fine.
That's right.
It'll be your closet again by then.
That's right.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Well, that's, I think, more than enough.
That's a lot. That's a lot. We've had a lot to say. A big month to catch up on.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we look forward to the chance to make another video in, I don't know, some 6 weeks or something.
Yeah. We'll have more to show.
More to show. Right. And hopefully I'll remember to stick pictures in where I said I would. Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.